What's up, everybody? Pete Peterson here with Dream Huge Realty. How we doing today? With my man Justin Schmitz of Ridgebrook Property Inspections and Riley Place, also with Dream Huge Realty and Shelby Computers, and also two former MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Retired.
Yes, sir.
Retired. Well, you guys are in for it today. You're lucky because you get to see they're both coming out of retirement.
We're going UFC champion.
In this corner. That would get a lot of views.
I don't know if I can make weight at this
Maybe
point.
we'll save that for the end of the video.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
Guys, we have a professional home inspector on today, so now is the time. Any agents watching, anybody on the team, anybody out there, any of our clients, past or present, or anyone else have questions, right here is your man. He's a licensed electrician, licensed plumber, very knowledgeable about the whole building process, both residential and commercial. There's Mr. Bigelow. What's up? We'll also be giving away a $20 gift card to DLX for lunch. Stay tuned. Once we get some viewers joined on, we will give that away in a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about inspections, right? I guess for those who aren't familiar, why would a buyer get a home inspection? Why would a buyer get a home inspection?
Go ahead, Justin, you got it.
To me, a home inspection is more of a peace of mind. Aside from a peace of mind, I guess it kind of gives you a to-do list, a honey-do list of things that need done to the house, things that aren't structural safety issues, some stuff that can be done after the fact.
I love that. So a lot of times people are put off or even scared by the word inspection, and they think, oh, this house will never pass inspection, they'll say, right? Well, there's not necessarily a pass or fail to the inspection. What you're receiving is a 20 to 30 page honey-do list, right?
Yeah.
And for anybody who may even be a current homeowner, I don't know if you ever get this, a current homeowner just ordering an inspection on their own house, because these eyes right here will find things that we cannot.
Absolutely.
And they will come through with a honey-do list, and what you're looking for in the inspection, as always, major health and safety issues, major stuff. But the good inspectors, and Justin included, is going to detail every little problem that is wrong with the property. But that's his job. He does a great job at it. And why would a buyer get an inspection? I'm just going to elaborate on that a little bit. And guys, just jump right in there, because sometimes I like to talk a lot. Here's just a perfect example. The real estate agent and the client walk through the entire house. We love it. Let's place an offer. I mean, it's amazing. Well-kept house. You've never seen a more well-kept house. Meticulous. Take your shoes off when you come in the door. Everything, right? So we go back for the home inspection, and there was a crawl space, which, of course, I didn't crawl up in there. I don't know. There's a lot of good real estate agents out there, but how many of us actually crawl up in a basement crawl space that's about this tall and look in all corners? Patrick does. Okay, Patrick Crum is here. Patrick climbs into crawl space, or even an attic for that matter. But you take it for granted. You might shine your flashlight back and move on. I don't know if you remember this one. You crawled back in there and you found a live termite hive.
I do remember that.
Which had eaten away the entire sill plate on that side of the house, right?
It's actually a nice house.
Yeah, beautiful house, but with a completely rotted out sill plate. Needless to say, we backed out of the deal, and this has been years ago. So if anybody's wondering, it's not even on the table right now. But that's what a good inspector does, and that's what a good inspector can do for the buyers. So they can get into those nooks and crannies that you would have never even thought about doing.
Sure.
So do you like when the buyer follows you around? Is that what you're saying?
I don't mind it. It's a lot easier for them to come the last 30, 45 minutes. At that point, you can finish up your report. You can go through and show them the deficiencies and go over your report with them at that point. With them following you around from the beginning, it's a little bit of a pain, but I really don't mind it.
Very good. Now we talked about this a little. Why would a seller get a property inspection? Why and when would a seller get a property inspection?
A seller typically will get it to kind of push the sale of their house a little quicker. That kind of gives them a little bit of sight as far as things that need to be repaired beforehand, or if they're gonna put it on the market. Any of the safety or the big issues that can be done beforehand so that there's no holdup in the sale.
Sure, I love it. It's no hold up in the sales, what you're looking for, right? The less friction, the better. Let's pre-inspect this. Let's be an open book to our buyers.
Right.
They can actually display that inspection report, correct?
Absolutely.
And then any potential buyers can look at that, and you could check off things that were repaired, and basically you're helping to alleviate an additional price negotiation.
Correct.
And you won't have to get beat up over repair costs once you're in contract. I love that. So sellers, if you're thinking about doing that, it's a great idea, and that way you can secure that purchase price as initially negotiated and not get stuck. You're already 2 weeks into the contract, and now they're saying we found all this stuff wrong. We want to drop the price. We want all this fixed or $5,000 off, right? Whereas if you fix it up front and you're good to go, and you're an open book, they're not going to have that second negotiation. I really like that tactic.
How big is your average report for like a regular residential house?
Your typical is from 35 to 40 pages.
Okay.
The more deficiencies, the more pages.
Right.
I think my biggest was 83.
Wow.
But again, I was at that, and commercial it gets bigger.
Yeah.
I think I was at that house almost 6.5 hours. I mean, I had 100 and some pictures on it. It was.
Was
kind
it
of one of
really? Was it a big house, or was this a really rough house?
It wasn't huge. It was 3,200 square foot. But it was kind of one of those where you walk in, it's kind of like, why am I here?
Yeah.
It was pretty beat up.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah, they're not that long typically.
Right.
And I'm going to get back to that in a minute, but I'm just going to go down my list here. What all type of inspections do you offer?
We offer everything, residential, commercial, radon, termite. We do camera scopes, dye testing as far as your septics,
Right.
all of your water testing. The only thing that we do not do inspections on basically would be new install for gas lines.
Okay. Very good. So the whole gamut there.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. What's the price for a general home inspection?
Up to 2,500 square foot is $275.
$275 for general home. Very good.
That's a great price.
Try to stay competitive with it.
Yeah. That is a really good price.
And again, here, Justin Schmitz here with Ridgebrook Property Inspections, online, ridgebrookpropertyinspections.com.
Yes, sir.
Correct? All right, got it right. If you need to contact him. Could you walk me through, just walk me through your process? A general home inspection, how does it start? Where do you start? What do you look for? And just take me through the whole process.
Really depends on the weather.
Mm-hmm.
I go inside, turn all the lights on, turn the waters on, and the fixtures throughout the house. I typically will start in the kitchen. You go through, you open up all the cabinets, make sure that the drainage is good, the receptacles, everything in the kitchen's good, windows, and it's the same process throughout the whole house.
So you're turning the waters on, and are you letting the faucets run this
Absolutely.
Entire time?
Mm-hmm.
All
And
of them at once?
No, I usually will have the kitchen
So I'm
running.
stealing all your tips, so I don't have to call you anymore.
The kitchen faucet will run the duration of the inspection, because that's
Okay.
the most used faucet in the home. And I run that about half mash. You don't want them running full. You'll upset the sellers.
Mhm.
But once that's running, and usually when you go from one end of the house, like where the kitchen to the bathroom, and you turn on a bathroom faucet, usually when you have that distance between and you turn on the second faucet, it's going to show you any drop in pressure, aside from your drainage.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's every fixture in the house is ran for a good period of time.
Okay. And what's next?
Go through the house, check all the receptacles, all the lights, windows. You scope everything for water leaks, cracks in the walls,
Mhm.
any variation in the flooring level.
Do you have some type of special flashlight? Because I swear I go through sometimes and I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I never noticed that. And Justin, of course, notices it.
I do have the tactical flashlights that we used when I was at the police department. I've
Yeah.
got 4 or 5 of those. that are
There we
very
go.
bright.
Perfect.
You should market those and sell them. The Ridgebrook flashlight.
Yeah.
I get mine, you
Put your
actually
own
get them through
label on it.
Amazon. They're
Really?
$135, and you
Okay.
can get the rechargeable batteries for them.
So, agents, I'm afraid we need to step our game up because a lot of times we forget our flashlight, and oftentimes in that we're using our iPhone light, right?
Yeah, this
thing
flashlight,
sucks.
it's extremely bright. So I mean,
Yeah.
you go through, make sure the lights work. Then you go back through, when I'm in that particular room, I shut all the lights off and use my flashlight.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to see the cracking at that point.
Wow. Okay.
I never
So,
even thought
go ahead.
about that. I never even thought about that. Turn the lights off, then turn the flashlight on.
Yeah.
It's easier to find your water stains then too, the ones that aren't real
Great tip.
Yeah, that
obvious.
is.
You guys hear that? When you're out there looking at houses, turn off the lights, get out the tactical sunglasses and the tactical flashlight.
Absolutely.
Run over it with your truck to make sure it won't break.
Yeah.
And then you can take it inside.
I know.
That's awesome.
I know we were just talking about.
Those are great tips.
Yeah, I know.
And
we were
thank you
just
for
talking
coming
about
on. Appreciate it. Because this is
Thank
stuff
you.
people need to know.
The like when you go into some of these houses, we were just talking about the termite one, and obviously the fixer upper you win. Have you ever seen some what's like a horror story that you have from going into a property and just being like
You gave us a horror story just before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably one of the worst that I've seen was one we just had last week that it looked like a strap weld had given out on a waste stack and there was human feces throughout the basement.
gosh.
So,
That was pretty bad.
what's the thought process on that? They just keep flushing, and or was just the amount that was in the stack?
Well, and it did look, and I couldn't get close enough to really
Yeah.
look down into the stack, but it did look like the water was up to that level of boot that was missing. That had been blowing out, leaking for a while.
For a while.
And the
So,
washer
yeah.
and dryer
Just
was
keep
in the
on
basement.
using it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Washer and dryer's in the basement. They knew it was there. It was,
Yeah.
that was pretty bad.
Okay, we've got some viewers on there now, so I'm gonna throw out a little trivia. Let's see. This is gonna be an easy one, all right? First one to guess this gets this $20 DLX lunch gift card. What holiday is this Wednesday? What holiday is this Wednesday? Any takers? Any takers? Type it on the screen. Let me know. I'm watching closely.
Let's see. How many are you up to a week now total between all three of them?
I do 2 a day. Like Columbus guy, let's give
You
him
go.
an average of 1 a day. So we're probably 4 to 5 a day total.
Well, how far in advance do you usually schedule these? Is it
I keep it all within 7, on an extreme week, it's 7 to 10 days.
okay?
I try to keep everything within that 10-day period.
Okay, let's go back to the walkthroughs. Okay, so you checked the ceilings and the lights, and this is pretty much the interior. Are we heading to the basement now?
Yes.
Okay.
The
What do we look for in the basement?
basement's a little bit more involved. Obviously, you've got all your plumbing, your electrical, and then you're checking all of your framing, foundation.
Oh, wait, sorry to interrupt you. We got a St. Patrick's Day winner, Mr. Troy Sapp.
Perfect.
Congrats, Troy.
Good.
I'll get that to you, sir. Thank you. So we're looking around down in the basement. Sorry.
You're right.
Take me back there again.
Yeah, the basement's more involved. I will go through and I will typically do the foundation first. You go through, check your framing sill plates, your foundation condition, make sure that there's no bowing, cracking, movements. And at that point, you can see a lot from the way your drainage is along the exterior from the look of the foundation. Any discoloration in the foundation says a lot about the exterior also.
Mm-hmm.
That'll tell me if there's downspouts that were leaking, if it looks like drain tiles that were leaking, overflowing.
What do we do, when you have a finished basement? What are our options there?
Makes it a little bit more difficult. Finished basement, you're gonna look more from a moisture meter at that point. You're gonna
Okay.
check all of your sheetrock. And a lot of that, your discoloration is gonna come more through the baseboard trim
Mm-hmm.
or your top corners.
Yeah. It's hard to tell if you've got a cracked wall. I mean, there is no way to.
Yeah, there's really no way to see that unless you've got movement in that
Yeah.
frame.
But just kind of almost be an inspector, right? Like you said, look for the discoloration, look where the drainage, even the water stains on the floor, maybe if there's not a finished floor.
Yeah, every now and again you find an access hole where they've got space between the finish and the foundation that you can look into, but that's you're very minimal.
So some other things we're looking at downstairs besides the foundation, you know, your furnace, your water heater, your electrical.
Yes, sir.
So electrical panels is Federal Pacific absolute no, or what's the rule on that?
And every jurisdiction's going to be a little bit different on that. In my reports, that is listed as a safety issue, and it is recommended to be replaced. A lot of your insurance companies have issues between that and the knob and tube, and they would like to see that removed.
Yeah. So a knob and tube. Well, I should say, and maybe it's more of a, and maybe you guys can help me as well. It might be a question for the lender. If knob and tube is present, you know, will that fly on a conventional loan? Yes.
Yes,
That's
as far as
yes.
conventional, I don't think they have issues with much of anything.
Now FHA, it's a different story. Correct.
Depending on who they send out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had it fly before.
Yeah.
it has. Knob and tube has flown on FHA.
I've seen some
even.
that catch it, some that flag it, some
Mhm.
don't.
So it depends on the lender and the insurance person, really, right? And you can shop it around and sometimes get it to fly, but the inspector will always recommend that it be replaced. A recommendation.
I
correct?
do.
Okay, good.
Will you ever get sent out for FHAs?
What?
Do you ever do FHAs, the inspection?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And usually the lender will contact you, or how does that work? Is that a lot different?
Every now and
than-
again, the lender will contact. Majority of the time, it's just through the buyer.
Okay.
Yeah, every now and again, the lender will reach out, but they've got usually their own set group of people that they call.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get back to the walkthrough. So the furnace, the water heater, what are you looking for on those? Or do you, if we want to go further into detail, we should get into a HVAC guy? What's the rule on that?
If you want to get, a lot of the furnace issues for gas furnaces is the heat exchange. You can't see it unless you dismantle the whole base of the furnace. So you can see the burners, you can see all the low volt components in the front cabinets. Every now and again, some of the units you can open up, they'll have back cabinets where you can see at least the back of the blowers and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But that's not going to be something, I mean, as part of your normal gig, is
That would have to be
dismantling,
more the
disassembling
HVAC.
to look at the heat
Yeah,
exchange.
I'll take apart the cabinet doors, you know, check out the cabinets.
Yeah.
You know, you check your furnace filters, blowers, you know, everything that you can see of the burners themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you really cannot take those apart.
Okay. Anything else in the basement? Crawl spaces we talked about.
Crawl space, as long as I can, that's why I keep this figure so I can get in those small areas. As long as I can get back through there and have some movement, I will get back in the crawl space.
Yeah. And then I think we're pretty much, well, with the attic.
Mhm.
And then we're going to the outside after that.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you look for on the exterior, and what does you process there?
Exterior, you're gonna look, the things that I focus on more for the exterior would be your grading, all of your drainage, because that is what's gonna affect the house the most.
Mm-hmm.
You go through, you check all of your windows, make sure that there's no broken windows, everything's sealed. Walk through, I mean, you're basically looking, and I try not to get real picky on chipping paint.
Mm-hmm.
If the paint is chipped out to where it's exposing the wood sections and you're starting to get water to those wood sections, I will call that stuff out. But if it's just little minor chips here and there,
Yeah,
I try not to hit too much on the cosmetic.
sure.
You get up on the roof, you check to make sure that your gutters are set right, your fascia coverings are all sealed. There's no peeling or curling in your shingles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your flashings are all sealed up, your chimney stacks are sealed. I mean, there's just a lot of sealant that needs to be,
Just make sure
covered.
everything's sealed up and buttoned up nicely up there.
Absolutely.
And you do get on the roof,
as long as
As long
the
as
pitch isn't real steep.
and there's not a foot of
Snow.
snow up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
When you go through these properties, what do you think is the number one problem that you see? What's the most common problem for a house?
Most common is gonna be missing GFIs. Aside from missing GFIs would be, and again, it's more of a new code standard, is smoke detectors, CO detectors throughout the house. A lot of the time, the old standards would be just one smoke CO in the house was acceptable. Report-wise, it's a recommendation to have one in every bedroom, hallway, living room, basement.
Right.
But electrical, your GFIs would be your most common.
Okay.
Now, is it code for the bathroom vent to it has to go outside and not up to the attic? Is that correct?
We stay away from the word code.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. And we had a
There's
discussion
very
about that
fine
too.
line. The bathroom exhaust fans, they do want to see those taken directly to the exterior.
Okay.
A lot of people do actually take those up through the roof lines. I don't like that because it gives it another leak point. I would like to see those out, if possible, through the gables or the soffits.
Mm-hmm. That's one I seem to see a lot.
Yeah.
What else? Questions, guys? We got the expert. We got the pro. Right here, live in studio. Questions out there in Facebook land? Anybody start drinking yet for St. Patty's Day? Little pre-gaming.
I think Troy might here in a
Little
minute.
green beer.
And a nice gift card.
Well, I think that's all I have for you, Justin. Unless you have any final thoughts. Again, Ridgebrook PropertyInspections.com. Justin Schmitz. Anything else that we need to hit on?
Did great.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us, guys. If you have any questions, reach out to Justin or to us, dreamhuge.com, 419-528-8260. And remember the rules. Work hard. Never give up.
Never give
And
up.
dream huge. Let's see them guns, boys. Come on, put them up.
All right.
Yeah.